This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Tonight on the South Today, Otago Polytechnic is celebrating being a world leader in terms of sustainability. A World War II veteran received a pleasant surprise which brought back memories. And a Queenstown couple share their secrets of their 65-year marriage. Kia ora, good evening, I'm Sophie Morris. Last January, the Otago Polytechnic helped Otago become accredited by the United Nations as a regional centre for expertise for sustainability. A year on, 5 students are busy putting together a database of all the environmental initiatives operating in Otago.
These 5 Dunedin students are working over the summer to create a database of all the Otago organisations and community groups that are working to make the world a better place. Finn Campbell says he's surprised at the range of projects across Otago that make human development become more environmentally sustainable, such as making reservoirs, normally used for filling helicopter monsoon buckets, also function as an actual wetland, providing a home for native species.
Getting freshwater crayfish in fire ponds up in central Otago, so kind of mixing, the fire service mixing the use of freshwater crayfish, and they can to increase biodiversity in their fire ponds. So I think that was just like, what is going on? Cannot believe that for a second. Would never have known that existed.
The students are working for Otago's Regional Centre of Expertise for Sustainability, which is one of almost 200 centres across the world accredited by the United Nations and aiming to transform the world with more sustainable practices.
It's a vision created by the United Nations and how we want our world to look. So it's sustainable development goals, and it goes beyond sustainability in terms of environmental sustainability and looks at everything from gender equality to life above land, ensuring there's no poverty, no hunger. So it covers all aspects of human life in the world around us as well.
The database they've been putting together this summer will not only help different environmental groups get in touch with each other, but also provide researchers in the future with a snapshot of the sustainable practices that were being done in Otago in 2020. Tabea Trounson says she's seen a lot of groups being not just environmentally friendly, but also achieving other important United Nations goals, such as educating the wider community about how to be more sustainable.
We see a lot of schools working with environmental groups, and then environmental groups working with education sector, and also more institutions like universities, police force, councils do a lot of work with community groups. There's a lot of connection that already exists, and I think we're just building on that.
The students' research will be used by the United Nations for getting a better understanding on what sustainable activities are being practiced around the world. In Dunedin, the South Today.
Projects have been delayed or cancelled as the Southern District Health Board copes with the ongoing impact of COVID-19. The pandemic forced the SDHB to spend about $26 million extra on unbudgeted operating costs and $1.2 million in capital expenditure. Last year, the Southern District Health Board had one of the highest DHB deficits in the country. SDHB Finance Executive Director Julie Rickman says a range of projects have slowed or stopped during the period the organisation has focused on addressing COVID-19. A Musgiel veteran has been left speechless after receiving a gift which harks back to his days serving in World War II. Jim Dagg's family spent the better part of a year creating a quilt commemorating his service.
He's now closing in on a century. But when he was a young man of 18, Jim Dagg headed to Europe to do his part during World War II as a navigator on Lancaster bombers. Dagg recalls being in London during an air raid.
We were sitting there talking. Next minute, this boom, and the Germans had sent over a flying bomb. And it landed in London. It could have landed on us.
As a member of the Royal New Zealand Air Force, he flew multiple missions. The quilt depicts a Lancaster flying over a field of poppies at sunrise. It was crafted by Jen Carradis, who's married to Mr. Dagg's nephew.
He'd been told that it was coming, but I don't think he really realised just how big it was and how much work had gone into it and thought had gone into it. So he opened it up and yeah, his expression was priceless, really.
Although it represents events in the theatre of war about 80 years ago, Dagg says the striking quilt brings memories back.
I mean, it's so unusual and treasured sort of memories would still linger a lot.
His daughter Karen says the quilt is set to stay in the family, along with other artefacts from her father's military service.
It'll be something that we'll pass on and probably even pass back to them, because I don't have any children, so it would be nice to pass it on through their family later on and keep it in the family with his medals and service record, yeah, as part of history.
The idea of the quilt stemmed from a conversation about his days in a Lancaster a couple of years ago, and took about a year to put together. In Dunedin, the South Today.
A man has been blacklisted from Air New Zealand flights and banned from Otago Airport after joking about a bomb in his luggage. Napier man Stuart George Dempsey appeared in the Invercargill District Court today. Last Friday, the airport was evacuated after he allegedly pointed to his bags, saying they had bombs inside. He was charged with interfering with a transport facility with reckless disregard for the safety of the public. The ban means Dempsey will have to drive home to Napier before returning to Invercargill next month for his second court appearance. After more than 6 decades of marriage, Pat and Shirley Paulin have learned a thing or two about relationships. The Queenstown couple met in Dunedin and have many fond memories of their 65 years together.
A Queenstown couple celebrating 65 years of wedded bliss are quietly spoken about their achievement, saying it comes from a variety of factors.
I like Pat's leadership skills, and he was interested in things that I was interested in.
And I think it drew us together. We both were interested in sport. Shirley was extremely keen and very good at tennis, and my cricket we mixed up very quickly there together. And another thing that was a great joy in those days was Joe Brown's Town Hall dance, Saturday night dances.
Yeah.
That kept us pretty happy, didn't it?
Yes.
The couple met at a leadership course in Dunedin in the 1950s and were married at All Saints Church in the city's north in 1956. They say having common interests as well as making time for solo pursuits has kept them together.
Yes, the support and in all ways.
And I think we've always tried to do things together, cook together,
yes, yeah,
go places together. But then we have had our individual things too, our own interests.
They say getting married and making a commitment early in life worked for them. As they say, you mould together as people on a journey, side by side. In Queenstown, the South Today.
Still to come on the South Today. Funding options for a new kerbside rubbish and recycling scheme will be decided by the Council this week. And we hear about the latest COVID vaccine updates.
All new episodes of Put Some Colour in Your Life are now screening on Channel 39. Take a look at Australian artists and the techniques they use in their studio. Put Some Colour in Your Life. Tuesdays, 7:30.
risk of developing melanoma skin cancer. You owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
Ah, TV, our favourite babysitter. But it can be tough keeping up with what our tamariki are watching. Luckily, the Broadcasting Standards Authority has made some smart changes to the classification labels. Ooh! Plus changes to the time of day certain rated shows will air, and awesome new parental lock features, meaning your babysitter's job is safe. Find out more at safeviewing.co.nz.
Welcome back. Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern says approval for the Pfizer vaccine could come as early as Wednesday next week. Speaking during the first post-cabinet media briefing of the year, the Prime Minister says swift progress is being made on COVID-19 immunisation. The country is set to take delivery of the first batch of vaccine as soon as Pfizer can send them. Jacinda Ardern says as vaccines arrive, immunisation will work through priority groups, with a mass vaccination campaign likely to begin in the middle of the year. Funding options for a new kerbside rubbish and recycling scheme will be decided by the Dunedin City Council this week. Different combinations of rates, fixed user charges or a pay-as-you-go option will be considered. Councillors will decide this week on how many bins will be available and whether food scraps and green waste will also be collected. There will be at least 3 bins, including one for rubbish, which will replace the current rubbish bags. Households could be expected to pay about $300 a year, with an optional garden waste service at about $150. Statistics show nearly 1 in 5 adult New Zealanders have been tattooed, with more women choosing to have ink applied to their bodies. The Otago Daily Times has spoken with a range of people about their tattoos, and today we meet tattoo enthusiast and marine scientist Katie Nelson.
The dozen tattoos Katie Nelson has feature the places, people and marine environment she loves.
Yeah, everything that I've got is either marks like a time in my life or a stage of personal growth or something. Like for me, it's quite a kind of cathartic thing to do, to just mark moments.
The 27-year-old Dunedin woman completed a marine science degree and now has an octopus taking shape in ink on her thigh. The octopus tattoo isn't complete, but when it is, it'll join a humpback whale already tattooed higher up. However, she began using tattoos as a way of marking significant events in her life many years ago.
My first tattoo I got in Dublin when I was 17.
Yeah.
And it was like a tribute to my mum who passed away.
Oh, cool.
And it was actually a hilarious experience. My dad got asked to leave the tattoo studio because he couldn't stop laughing and it was making me laugh. And then they were like, this is really difficult, we're trying to tattoo her ribs.
Originally from Dublin in Ireland, Katie Nelson came to New Zealand for a 1-month holiday to visit her sister in Wanaka and never left. She says every one of her tattoos marks a time in her life or a stage of personal growth. And with new work in progress, she says the story on her living canvas continues to evolve.
The latest is 2 days ago. I got this one.
Oh my gosh.
Which is pretty cool. I've still got to finish.
The color.
We've got to finish this stuff. But I'm stoked. And that was Veronica. I don't know if you met Veronica Brett. She's amazing.
On her back, Katie Nelson has a Trinity symbol representing the three countries she loves: France, Ireland and New Zealand. In Dunedin, the South Today.
After the break on the South Today, efforts to keep the New Zealand Sports Hall of Fame open in Dunedin are encountering difficulty, and we hear about the heat hitting the south.
All new episodes of Put Some Colour in Your Life are now screening on Channel 39. Take a look at Australian artists and the techniques they use in their studio. Put Some Colour in Your Life, Tuesdays, 7:30.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
Welcome to Alex Campbell Menswear. Our 3 stores have no shortage of stock. Check these out. We've got the Dunedin print t-shirts. Check out our zillions of short sleeve shirts. These are crackers. They iron themselves in the wash. Iron cheater they're called. And there's some really cool polo shirts. Look at all the bright colours. And of course there's no shortage of shorts. This is always one of our brightest corners. Our long sleeve fashion shirts. Jeans, casual trousers, dress trousers, you name it, we have you covered.
Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
So if you're shopping for your family or yourself, come and see Alex Campbell Menswear stores. We're full of stock.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
What have you got? Okay. Chicks World, party time, excellent. Love it. Chicks World. Chicks World. Right.
Welcome back. Efforts to keep the New Zealand Sports Hall of Fame open in Dunedin are encountering difficulty. Dunedin City Councillors are due to consider options this week on how to keep the struggling museum operating. But none look like a guaranteed way to develop and run an attractive facility in the city while keeping costs in check. The hall houses and exhibits all sorts of sports memorabilia and would cost over $500,000 to be refurbished. A factor that could make intervention by the council difficult is that it is already considering a large rates rise, and council debt is also set to soar in the next 10 years. Without council intervention, the hall is likely to close in July. And now recapping tonight's top stories on the South Today. Otago Polytechnic is celebrating being a world leader in terms of sustainability. A World War II veteran received a pleasant surprise which brought back memories. And a Queenstown couple share the secrets of their 65-year marriage. And now for a look at what's happening in tomorrow's ODT. Welcome, Barry.
Hello, Sophie.
Good evening.
Yes, talking about council debt levels and projected rate rises. Well, Grey Power, amongst others, have expressed concerns about that, and of course the councillors get together tomorrow to begin what could be some intense discussions about where the money should be spent over the next 10 years. So that is the 10-year plan. So all that debate will be starting tomorrow, so we'll be covering that fully. So Moving on a positive note, 3 national retailers are moving into leased shop sites in George Street in Dunedin. All 3 are on the Golden Block between St Andrew and Hanover Street. So who they are, you'll have to read your paper tomorrow to find that out. But
great.
Very exciting. Clinton Mann has been found guilty of 37 of 38 sex charges he faced, and now faces many years behind bars. So that was the conclusion of that trial that has been running throughout the week. And of course it was pretty hot out there today.
It was.
I don't know if it got to what was projected, but we're going to have a look around the region and see what it got up to. But apparently it's getting warmer as we speak. So there you go. So after this you could shoot out to the surf and do something refreshing, or maybe and Logan Park High School teacher Dr. Murray Thompson has been awarded a School Sport New Zealand Service to School Sport Award. So a very prestigious award after many years of sterling work over many fields apparently. So yeah.
Wonderful. Alrighty. Well, thank you, Barry. All that and more in tomorrow's ODT. And now for a look at the weather.
Tonight's weather proudly brought to you by Mole Map.
Beginning with a southern view, take it of people enjoying a warm summer's day in the Octagon as the city hit 33 degrees, 2 short of the 35 degrees set in 2018. Looking at the situation, very warm air from the Australian interior blows its way onto the South Island tomorrow, so expect some more hot temperatures. Starting off at the northwest, expect partial cloud with 22 degrees in Greymouth and 21 in Westport. On the eastern side, sunshine with 29 degrees in Nelson and 33 in Blenheim. Down the east, more sunshine and heat with 31 degrees in Christchurch, 26 in Kaikoura and 33 in Ashburton. To the southern towns, southwesterly change and rain is expected with 20 degrees in the Catlins, 19 in Balclutha and 17 in Lumsden and Gore. To the northern towns, fresh northwesterlies and high cloud on the coast with 30 degrees in Twizel and Oamaru. Inland, strong northwesterlies and cloud increasing with 25 and then 24 in Omarama. In Dunedin, fine and warm tonight with a low of 17. Fine tomorrow with freshening northwesterlies and increasing high clouds. Winds may be strong and gusty in the evening. Rain and colder southwesterlies developing tomorrow night. A high of 26 and a low of 11. Cold on Thursday with strong gusty southwesterlies. Dry at first but showers developing in the afternoon and possibly some hail. A high of 12 and a low of 5. And in Invercargill, rain developing later tonight with northwesterlies becoming strong and an overnight low of 16. Periods of rain and strong gusty mild northwesterlies at first, but easing to showers with fresh colder southwesterlies during the afternoon. A high of 17 and a low of 9. Becoming cold on Thursday with frequent showers and likely hail. Strong gusty southwesterlies, a high of 10 and a low of 5. That's all for our news this Tuesday. For the latest news from the southern region, head online to odt.co.nz or follow Channel 39 on Facebook and YouTube. Thanks for joining us. Ka kite anō.
This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.